Back. Sorry about that. We've been having so many problems. Streamlabs, if you're watching this, which you aren't, or listening on anchor.fm/VBA-live, please fix your collab cam. The browser stream, I swear, just it doesn't play nice. I've tried to look into this. Other people are having the issue. No one has a clear answer yet. We'll get there. But let's focus on our main topic for the evening, which is VBA. So, right, I believe when we froze, we're talking about, earnings. You just won your 2.25 soul.
Yes.
The other big earning opportunity is that VBA is committed to $10,000 US prize pool for their 1/2018 tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And so the exciting thing here is in this tweet, which I will share in chat for anyone who wants to follow along, is that first place is going to get $2,500. Second place is going to get $1,000, $1,026. Finishing teams in the following brackets will win. If you finish in the round of 4, $404. Round of 8, $235. Round of 16, $141. Round of 32, $80. Group stage, $25. That's not bad. I'd like even to be involved with it. Like, there are other games where it's like, oh, hey, you're at the bottom tier. Here's 50 cents. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, I don't know. I like it. I'm happy with it. I'm probably even more excited. You don't have to pay to get in. You just got to get in.
You're going to get into it?
Right now, it depends on the week.
Yeah.
When I was in competitive last, which is 2 weeks ago, I was in 42nd place. So that would have got me in. So we'll see. But then when I get bumped out of it down to an intermediate, I'm like well out of it. So
right.
That's why I'm taking it slow right now. I'm dialing things in, watching from the outside. And then hopefully when the time comes, all the pieces will be in place for me to secure my spot.
Sure. I'm here for it. I wish you luck. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you.
Before we move on or discuss more, with the current screen that is up, which is Twitter, I just want to say, what is with these trending topics? We've got the Bucks at Knicks. Should actually be a good game.
Right.
And I gave up my $20 Nets Wizards tickets tonight to stream because I was like, what am I even doing with these garbage tickets?
Wow. Thank you. Honored.
It actually should be a good game also, but that's okay. And then we've got SBF, fine. Danny Masterson, okay, whatever. And then we've got Cocaine Bear with Ray Liotta. And I don't know what's happening there because I'm pretty sure Ray Liotta died last year. So as soon as the stream ends, I want everybody to go check out whatever is happening with the Cocaine Bear and Ray Liotta.
Please let us know. And you know what? What should be trending right now? Free Pat Bev. So
yeah, free Pat Bev.
That's what should be trending. And Roan. He doesn't need to be freed, but he didn't get love on the last episode, so we're gonna give you some love right here, Roan. Big shout out to you.
I'm curious to see how that episode goes. I guess it's this week. Well, unless they record a week later, I don't even remember. But that should be a good episode to listen in on.
Yeah, he's just looking out for his team. We talked about this earlier. He's just doing the right thing.
He always does. He always has. He's always done that. Anyways,
NBAJ, definitely the Bucks tonight for sure.
Yeah.
Next thing I want to bring up is that you can not only follow VBA on Twitter, but also on TikTok. TikTok.com/@VBA game. Link is in chat. Only 3 TikToks so far. 21 followers, 44 likes, but it's a very new account. So chat, show him some love. Give him a follow if you're on TikTok. Check it out. It looks like I think that might be Jeff.
Yeah,
in
Jeff.
that first video.
Yeah.
So pretty exciting. Show him some love over on the TikToks. And then on the 13th, again, we took a few weeks off for the holiday and I was traveling. But on the 13th, VBA released a patch for 0.04.
Oh, yeah.
Link in chat. But a few kind of, I guess, 3 big things came out of this. 1, stretch bigs, a little better at 3. shooting playmaker, a little better mid-range, and pure shooter and 3-and-D wing taking fewer shots. And they made a point. I want to see if I don't know if the emojis, it was this emoji to say that, hey, we released an update. It swung the pendulum a little too far one direction. We just want to dial it back a little more. So these are like little baby half-step updates and changes. And you get detail here. We're going to talk about what those numbers actually look like in a little later segment. But I'm itching to get to the stream team.
Yes.
To talk about our performance. So the stream team, again, paying homage to the great Brett Smith with the Shiba Inu there, even though I think Brett Smith likes corgis.
Yeah.
We are currently sitting at 33-33. So we started off crushing it, fell off the face of the earth, but I think we're clawing back a little bit despite some losses.
Sure. I think also a big part of it, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's the competition. You know, we were also like, we started real high up. It might have been our first week, maybe our placement. I don't know, but 500, whatever. I'm fine with it. We also we don't change the lineup ever. You know what I mean? But that's why we're here now.
Exactly, because we are going to potentially utilize those 9 prospect players that we have right now. So if we look at our team, we have let me see if change the lineup. Here we go. So right now we have a pass first guard at point guard. He is our only point guard available. So I think that stays.
Yeah.
Then we have
we got to keep Larkin in.
Yes, 100%.
I think we did get a new center. We got.
I don't know if we did. We didn't. So Larkin's locked in.
I got 2 more centers on my personal.
Gotcha.
But yeah, okay, that's good because he's our best player by far. He's averaging 26.6 points.
Wow.
15.3 rebounds and 0.4 assists, shooting 47%.
Like that. Yeah. Like that a lot. So what position do we want to look at next? Do you want to look at power forward? Do you want to look at shooting guard, small forward?
So power forward, we only have 2 options, and it's I guess we got a new option at power forward too. We got an offensive wing. It's either an offensive wing or a versatile forward. So
our versatile forward.
I'm looking at our stats now.
4.9 points per game, 12.2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists.
And low field goal attempts, 6.7.
Do we want to swap it?
He's got decent rebounds, but I guess we could try someone new. Why not?
And his name is, I was going to say his name is Trophy, but it's not. It's Torfy.
It's Torfy and Trump.
Torfy and Trump. They've got to be cousins or something, I swear.
Yeah.
All right, so Torfy's in. Torfy is in. And we got a great question in chat. I want to circle back to that in a little bit after we set our lineup. So now small forward. We've got a 3-and-D wing at Hilbert, 7.3 points per game, 8.6 rebounds per game, 0.5 assists. And then we've got a slasher that we could put in.
Yeah, so I don't want to play the 3-and-D.
Yeah, same.
He's decent. He's not decent. He's okay, I should say. He's got good percentages, but he's not amazing. I think the slasher is a good move. Oh, we have a big. We have a post scoring big. I forgot. Yeah, I mean, let's do the slasher. Whatever.
All right.
We have to.
I like it.
Yeah.
And then we've got our shooting guard.
Yeah.
So
We've also got a new scoring guard. We have 2 scoring guards right now at SG.
interesting.
We've got our boy Feeney, who we haven't even played him before.
Feeney's new. Keen is new.
Wait, is Feeney new?
Yeah. Feeney might be there. You might have a Feeney on your personal team.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Doherty's putting up 24.6 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 0.9 assists as a pure shooter. Do we put up a scoring guard?
I just don't think we do.
I think we leave it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a scoring guard on my personal team who's like one of my favorite players. He's pretty good, but Doherty's numbers are just really good. And over like 66 games too, so it's not like he's going to change a lot.
Right.
I think we leave it as is, and then we can always change it up next week.
Yeah, let's do it. We're 33 and 33. It's a great benchmark. I'm very excited. I'm happy you got to replace the 3-and-D wing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Love it.
We're locked in. Let's go stream team.
Should we do are we doing the challenge? Should we start a challenge?
Let's start a challenge. I'm down. Let's get some info.
Same lineup.
Play.
I don't even think we should, acknowledge who we're playing against. Let's just see how that lineup does.
Done. We're firing it up. Chat. We will come. It was.
We've got
point guard. Doherty was there.
Rogan, and then Doherty, Medhurst,
Torfy,
and then Larkin.
Got it.
Perfect. Okay. See how we do.
We've got this going now, chat. While this goes, we got a question from Jason Wright that says 70 points, 43 rebounds, 17 assists. Those are the stream teams kind of breakdowns. What do you think is an optimal team ratio? That's a good question. I'm going to give a not good answer, unless you want to go first, Prospect.
I mean, I could have an answer, but I feel like your answer might be more, I guess maybe validated is even a good word, just because you're much more in with like the numbers and stuff than I am. But let's see what your answer is first, and then I'll follow up.
So I like 80-40-20.
Interesting.
Because that's what my main team is.
Okay.
And I did some work when I first got my very first initial team, which is different now. And that was kind of like, those were close to the numbers in competitive, if I'm not mistaken. And then that was my goal, was to get into competitive. So I kind of based my team off of that, and obviously changed some things as they went on. But that's what I like. Jason says that's what he sees a lot of too. I just read in chat.
Yeah, so first of all, that makes me happy because my team is 80.5, 41.9, 23.2. And I just looked while you were doing that at the top 5 teams right now. They're all within, a few digits of 80, 40, 20.
Nice.
Maybe a few off here or there, but okay. So I guess, yeah, I mean, my answer wasn't going to be 80, 40, 20, but that makes sense.
Oh, we've got a giveaway here in chat. Big shout out to Dartside. Wants to give away a Zed Run horse. UUU Bred Algo 1 Z40 Elite ID number 206730. We'll do that giveaway at the end of chat. Thank you so much, Dartside. I appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you. Very, very generous. Dartside, big supporter and fan of the and friend of the stream. All right, so stream team is going. While stream team is going, let's hop on over to our free agent find of the week. So my free agent find of the week was a stream team is currently struggling. We're down
I'm looking
13
at
and 9.
Yeah.
A little distracted by that. DM me the wall tonight. I'll send it out. Gotta run. Thank you so much, Darside. Appreciate that a lot. Is the Postman. So
That's good.
a little bit on the pricey side, though, given the fact that Soul has kind of come down a little bit. So it's at 3.5 Soul. But I liked the points and rebounds. I was really kind of focusing on rebounds. So 121 games, averaging 19.1 points, 16.2 rebounds, and 49.2% field goal. It is field goal percent. Seasons of experience 5, so you're smack dab in the middle.
Mhm.
Post scoring big, power forward, special. I don't know. He seems very solid. And you're going to get offensive and defensive rebounding from this player that are better on average compared to other power forwards. So I think you're going to get some stability there. So if you're missing out on rebounds, talking about that 80-40-20, and you need something to kind of get in there, I think this player could be a good fit.
Yeah.
What number is or any thoughts on this before we move on? But then I want to hear the number of your free agent find for the week.
No, this is good. I like those numbers. I like the, 19. Yeah, it's good. Can you go to the game log real quick?
Yeah.
I didn't pull them up on my end. I'm just watching on our Twitch stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those numbers. It's good. It looks consistent too. Like looking at the last, 5 or 10 games. And I do think 3-5, again, Soul is like it's halved from when we started, probably from episode 1. I would love to go back and look at episode 1. I feel like it was probably around like, maybe 31, 32.
Yeah.
So 3.5 isn't really that bad. And honestly, you could probably go look on the Magic Eden page and see like when he was listed, if he was ever listed, when Soul was at 30. That's something I've been doing, is looking like, are people adjusting the prices from before? If a player was listed months ago and now they're being relisted again, is it basically double what they were listed at? I'm trying to see like what these market trends are, because I still don't really think people are bumping the prices that much. But that's, I guess I don't really have any clear data on that yet. It's just what I'm seeing. Anyways, my free agent find for the week is 4310.
4310. Just putting my ID in chat for you. 4310.
Yes.
Pulling it up now. Rashid Balak. Yeah. All right. What are we looking at here?
So we've got a stretch big. And, when I was looking earlier, there were like, I think, 3 stretch bigs listed.
Dang.
I didn't see a lot, and some of the ones I did see were not good. I like this guy for a few reasons. Mainly, one, he's a stretch big, and with the recent, somewhat recent announcement, good time to get a stretch big. More so on that note, he hasn't played since September.
Interesting.
Yeah,
he has a lot of games.
He's got a lot of games, so he's probably, his stats are probably pretty solid by now, but he has all his games are, pretty much one team. Or let me pull him up again on my end.
Yeah, Bellflew Red Bears, 108 out of 132 games are there.
Yeah, so like, I don't know who that GM is, but 108 games on one team is a lot it's going to take a lot to change those stats. And if that team only had 5 players only had maybe, 6, 7 players where they only had one power forward, for example. Um, you know, all I'm saying is those numbers can very easily change with chemistry, which is something that we'll talk about later on. So hasn't played in a while, only has one season, is one of the only ones, only stretch bigs listed right now. And even so, with the stats that we have on him from that one team, um, he's got decent, decent stats across the board. So it's interesting though if you do look, there's one team, it's only 9 games, but the last team he was on, which was probably why the owner stopped playing him, his points went down from like the single game before to 12-9. So he had 28 points in one game before that and then dropped down. But, anyways, decent averages, decent stats, and compared to the averages, it wasn't that bad. So I thought it was a good buy, because of all that, basically.
Nice. And again, none of this financial advice. We can't guarantee player performance in any way, but you bring up a really good point that I think is it's the perfect segue for us to go into around the horn.
Yeah.
And that is the just the shifts. So we see 108 games, 15 and a half points per game. We see one game here, 28, 9 games here, 12-9. You can see the attempts are the same. It's not horribly different.
Right.
But there are going to be some fluctuations, and you'll see people give up on players because they'll buy them. It's happened to me. It's happened to you. And it's just like, this player isn't performing how I thought they would. Now, I think there are a handful of factors that can go into this. I'm getting to some speculation here. But I think one of those things is an element of team chemistry. Also looking at like the competition you're playing against, the play styles, etc. So let's jump into our next segment around the horn. We are talking about the GM tip of the week. I jumped the gun. We are going to be talking about the beginner guide that was just released. So link is in chat. Highly recommend, if you're new or even seasoned in VBA, take a look at this. So we're going to just quickly kind of go through. We're going to pick some things out that were interesting to us. We're not going to read this all word for word. Again, the link is in chat. Feel free to click that. But again, some really, really interesting points in here. So it very high level explains it's a 5-on-5 simulation represented by a play-by-play, where each play and eventual game result is determined by your players and team composition relative to your opponent. So speaking of chemistry, how players can change, again, speculation, but this is something that you and I have thought was a thing for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm taking this as at least a hint, a teaser that's saying that, eventual game result is determined by your players and team composition relative to your opponents.
Sure.
So I can almost read it both ways, but when you're saying player relative to opponent, team relative to opponent, team composition, the fact that that's bolded, to me says chemistry. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and I could argue either way. I could argue like, yeah, that's definitely a hint at chemistry. I could argue that it's not chemistry and that maybe they're just saying like your players are the stats and the team composition is making sure you're not playing all defensive players or something like that. But I'm on the chemistry train, and I would find it very hard to believe there's no sort of hidden chemistry. I mean, that's why, like we were saying, you can buy a player. I bought a player who was shooting like 65% and 20 plus over, 50 something games, and then came to my team and it went down to like 55% and like 15 points or something. So I just think there's definitely chemistry in the game, and I think chemistry can mean a lot of different things. It can mean relative to the archetypes that it's playing with. It can mean, relative to the matchup, or the even if it's not the archetypes that it's playing with, but like the stats of the other players on the team. But I do think that at some point the team will maybe make it a little more clear. For now, I'm saying there is definitely some sort of chemistry factor in the game. That's also something that makes it another, it's realistic.
Yeah.
And that I think makes sense. It wouldn't be as basketball forward if you could look at a player and just be like, oh, he hit 40 games with, variance of like X amount of points and assists per game or whatever. Like, then, all of a sudden you know exactly what you're getting and you know exactly how it's going to play. And that takes away from the game.
Yeah. If you could simply just pluck, a player from one team, place them into the same slot in another team and have them perform the exact same within a degree of variation, this would become predictable very fast. So I think there's a strong argument to be made, especially the fact that it says team composition for chemistry. So again, we're theorizing here, but I think we both feel pretty strongly about it.
Absolutely.
So each VBA game, 5-on-5 simulation, represented by play-by-play. Each play is determined by your players, relative to opponents. We covered that already. When you're in offense, your team will try to do things, score, pass, that the defense tries to prevent. When you're on defense, your team will try and stop the actions, like scoring or passing, that your opponent's offense tries to do. Better the offensive player team is, the more likely they are to succeed, and the better the defense is, the more likely they are to stop the offense. Understanding players. VBA player performs based on their play style and skills relative to their teammates and opponents. Again, I feel like just the way that's worded, it says chemistry to me.
Sure.
Each VBA player has over 20 skills, such as 3-point shooting to passing. Currently, these skills do not change. The following are some of the skills that players have, but are not exhaustive or direct correlation to the skills behind each player. So it sounds like they're giving us a slight peek behind the curtain, but not giving us exactly how the sandwich is made.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Again, going back to food analogies. So we have outside scoring, mid-range scoring, inside scoring, free throw scoring, shooting preference. Preference between outside, mid-range, and inside shots. Shot volume, preference to shoot the ball versus take another action, such as pass. Passing ability to pass the ball to get assists, which improves their teammates' ability to score. Dribbling. So a player's ability to dribble the ball, better ball handlers turn the ball over less. Offensive rebounds, player's ability to get offensive rebounds. So
I like that they added dribbling in here because like I had I don't have him anymore. I don't think maybe he's on my beta team. I had a player who it was always like dribbled the ball off his foot. And I'm like, why is this, like, out of all the things, why is this the one, like, play that I'm always seeing pop up and it's always the same guy? And now I'm like, damn, if I could look at, like, dribbling on a scale of 1 to 10, that dude probably had 1 foot or something like that. So I love that was added in here.
I like that too. And so, like, that was one of 2 points I wanted to talk about in this list for offensive skills. Ability to dribble the ball, better ball handlers turn the ball over less. So I look at that as, when I'm looking at the individual stats, it's hard for us to quantify dribbling. So when I think of that, I think of turnovers. So if I have someone that, I guess, let me backtrack a little bit. The other thing I want to talk about is the shot volume.
Okay.
So, like, which ties, in my opinion, to shot preference. So I think it's important to understand for your makeup is, like, where does your team like to shoot? And then how often are they shooting there?
Yeah.
And so, like, and then I think of, like, dribbling, assists, those things potentially tied together. So I want someone who's not going to turn over well, maybe at, like, the point guard position. I want a low turnover first guard. And then I just got to throw this out. I'm ending up talking about all these stats. But The assists, passing. So
Sure.
passing improves the teammate's ability to score. So maybe when we think about chemistry, players not performing correctly, do you have the amount of assists to allow for your team to take shots at their desired preference and volume? Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe the tinfoil hat is on. But I really think that's something you've got to think about and consider. And again, it goes back to chemistry for me.
Yeah.
It really does. Any thoughts on all of these?
No, I mean my big thought was, I like what they added. And I think it's cool that they're kind of like making it a little bit more, these are the various skills that you have to think about. And it's, as far as a beginner's guide goes, it's pretty like complex almost. But it's
Absolutely.
good. It should be spelled out like this. I'm glad they do that.
So next, so they said there were over 20. We're getting 15 listed here. Defensive skills, outside defense, mid-range defense, inside defense. That makes sense. You got to balance it out.
Yeah.
Defensive rebounding and blocks and steals. So pretty straightforward. But again, I kind of see it as like the yin and the yang. If you can do this on offense, you can do this on defense. Any thoughts on the defensive skills?
No, I got very distracted by Pinhead in chat. But let's see, defensive skills.
Pinhead has been banned. All good.
I mean, look, if I had to, if you told me to pick 6 defensive skills, those are probably like the 6 things I would write down on a piece of paper. So again, makes sense, and I love that they spell it out. I also think, as a beginner's guide, like if you're coming in and you aren't a huge basketball fan, this is a great explainer, like all of this.
Yeah, I agree. It quickly but kind of deeply lays everything out on the table for you.
Yeah.
And to prove the point perfectly, how our VBA player skills are determined.
Yeah.
So we've got play style, such as pass first guard, rarity, such as rare, underdog, legendary, special, and then seasons of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So player play style establishes a range of how effective a player is in a certain area, such as 3-point scoring. Regardless of rarity, this range is the same. Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So like all pass first guards have, let's say, assists within a certain range. Is how I'm reading that. Skills were then determined based on the player rarity. Higher rarity players have a higher chance to receive higher player skills within that range. So I go to your dribbling example. Your guy with one leg.
Yeah.
Someone who's a legendary would definitely have 2 legs and probably be pretty agility focused and have a great handle. And then note, players with fewer seasons of experience have very slightly lower skills than players with more seasons of experience.
And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because to me, we haven't really had much info on like seasons of experience up until now. And they made it a point to add that in here. But at the same time, it says have very slightly lower. It doesn't say has lower, it says very slightly lower. So it's like, I'd love to see what, how do they do that? What is it? What is the difference? And is it every season it's that slight number increases or decreases, or is it like a 1 to 3, 3 to 6, stuff like that? But I'm not gonna lie, I was a little surprised to read that in here, but I'm glad it's in here. I just find it interesting that they made it they chose to say slightly lower.
Yeah, I think this is huge. I'm really happy you called that out.
Yeah.
Tune in to a future episode of VBA Live where we will be discussing this exact topic in depth. Next, play styles, we also call them archetypes. We're not going to go over these, but they have player comps, weaknesses, strengths, description, positions, and play style. Definitely check that out. And then putting your team together. Now that you understand different players and play styles, let's put together a team. Your individual players will always operate as part of a 5-person team where their skill sets impact each other. Chemistry! And are impacted by your opponents.
Yeah.
I am so deep on this conspiracy theory, if you even want to call it that. Therefore, it's important to understand the player and team matchup dynamics, as well as offensive and defensive mechanics in the VBA. And again, to your point earlier, they go on to explain this. Just like this is a very quality guide. Head-to-head and team matchups on offense and defense. For the most part, players guard each other in head-to-head matchups, meaning your point guard matches against the opponent's point guard. However, when it comes to interior defense, team defense takes effect. On interior defense, everyone on your team helps play a role. Everyone. Interesting. Furthermore, when you play a rim protector with a versatile forward or 2 rim protectors, you receive an interior defense boost, stopping a greater percentage of interior shots and causing your opponent to shoot more outside shots. So I think that's, I mean, we knew interior defense was a thing. But it kind of just goes to like, I want to have diversity. We talked about 80-40-20, and this to me is really important for that, and how, you know, I've been able to play with mostly static lineups for a lot of my VBA career.
All right.
And then it kind of goes out, you know, the balance. Basic offense. Interior offense scores well against perimeter defense. Perimeter scores well against interior defenders. Mid-range scores consistently, but generally slightly lower volume and lower efficiency. Passing increases shot efficiency to mitigate some effects of defense. Defense basics, it talks about, again, the interior D. For perimeter D, you want 3 and D. Wings to slow down play styles like pure shooters. And perimeter defense counters playmakers. Perimeter defense counters perimeter offense and playmakers. Disrupt passing lanes and lead to steals. Keep in mind that if you play a player out of position, there will be a slight decrease in performance.
Sure.
And so this is also, I think, a really interesting point under advanced tips. As you start getting more familiar with play styles and how they work together as a team, take a deeper look into how shots are distributed and if they're going to your most effective scores. So factor in play styles, but you also have to look at the stats. And this is something that you and I have been big proponents of since the beginning. And I think, again, has really helped team performance.
Yeah. And, you know, on that note, I think it's real. I think the team has done a tremendous job, and they've released a ton of updates. I really want to see a team dashboard soon, where people can plug in their look at their team. It's auto loaded, and you can say, okay, you know, what's the 3-point distribution? Like it's all there, right? You can look at your team. You can, you know, go to the recent game log of individual players, and literally look down the list. But if you could put in a range of dates and have it on just like a team dashboard instead of a player dashboard, I think that's like something that the team is going to need when this comes out of season 0.
I agree. I like that. I'm working on something for that right now. There's no timeline on it. Ran into some bumps, but I think that would be really huge and important. They also say, you know, take time to understand your opponent's lineups. Utilize my site, mjinformatics.com. It's popped up in chat a few times. There's a lineup compare tool. You can pop in your team ID, the opponent's team ID, see who they've been playing most frequently over the past few weeks. But the last and final thing I want to talk about tonight is point 4. Make sure you have some different scoring options on your team. Okay, we talked about that. Players can get fatigued after taking too many shots. Interesting.
It is interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. I missed this. Yeah, I definitely read this, but
so something to chew on there.
Yeah.
And I think, when you like, I've noticed anecdotally that, if I'm going up a strong interior defense and my, power forward center, they are shooting inefficiently and they seem to take a decent amount of shots at the same time. And so I wonder if then fatigue sets in, which has a ripple effect. This is complete tinfoil hat. There's no data I'm going off of here. This is just general, interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, if you have, if you're playing like I used to really like to play playmaking big, a pass first guard, and then a low shot taker, and basically like funnel shots to like two players. I wonder if that's kind of what it's referring to.
Could be.
You just need to have the distribution, basically.
Could be. I like that.
So interesting that that's in there. I am not gonna lie, I did not read that. Out of all the times I've browsed through this, I did not notice that final line.
It's gotta check out those details. So hopefully, chat, whether you're watching live or listening to the recording, watching on Spotify, you got something, hopefully a little extra nugget out of this, and maybe start thinking about chemistry. Is that something that could be affecting your team? Maybe not. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, this is something I need to consider now. Would love to hear what you think going forward. Yeah. So speaking of stats now, let's get off the board. Let's talk about that 0.04 update and what that included. In chat, now would be a great time to submit questions, and don't leave because we're doing a Zed Run horse giveaway courtesy of Baron Darthside. So 3 or 4 technically play styles had some updates. So stretch bigs, they said, hey, we're gonna again for all these, the pendulum swung, it swung a little too far, we're gonna dial it back in. Stretch bigs, better threes. Well, kind of pre 0.04, we were looking at about 34-35%. That's not since day one, that's within more or less the recent change. Now they are from 34 to 35%. These are rough numbers. These aren't exact. Now they're shooting about 36 to 38%. So, 2 to 3% difference. And is that going to be enough to really change things? I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's something.
Yeah.
Next, we have shooting playmakers. Better at mid-range. So again, pre-patch, they were about 40.5%. Now they're up to 42%. Is that going to be a huge difference? Maybe, maybe not. Pure shooter 3-and-D wings, fewer shots. So 3-and-D wings are taking about, on average, half a shot less to 0.6 shots less or fewer attempts per game. Pure shooters, on the other hand, however, are taking 1 fewer attempts per game. So I really think that's the biggest change, is really just that 1 fewer attempt.
Yeah.
Not too many other stats changed. Like it's micro. It feels very nuanced. I'm not noticing anything too crazy come out of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there. This is what we're seeing right now in the data, and just wanted to share that with you, chat, so you have something to take away there. All right, what is going on? So I'm firing up Wheel of Names right now for the giveaway.
Real quick, how did our stream team do?
Oh, let's good call. Let's head back to stream team.
I didn't know if it would like kick you out or something.
No worries, you are good. Let's head back to the board. Let's check the stream team. Stream team won.
Nice.
71 by 10 points, 176 fantasy points.
All right.
Let's look at the
probably nowhere.
stats. I mean, Rogan was, there. Doherty was there. 28 points from Doherty. Medhurst, 9 points.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Torfey, 10. But shot 4 of 6.
Okay.
And, Larkin doing big things as always, 17
Look at
points.
those fantasy points coming from like Medhurst and Doherty. 40 fantasy points.
Whoa. Yeah. Where's that? Oh, rebounds.
Yeah. Must have been.
And 3 blocks and 2 steals.
Yeah, those are probably, just weighted.
So we'll, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run this back. And we got some attempts left.
Yeah.
And then let's hit the wheel of names. And we will get our winner. All right, so chat, you must be in Twitch chat. I'm grabbing the names now. We're going to, okay, there we go. Entries. Throwing this in. All right, so let's shuffle it a few times. How do I get fewer results? We're not going to do advanced. All right, well, if it doesn't, I don't know why it's at 41 entries.
Yeah, let's see what it does.
But we're gonna spin. And you only win if it actually lands on a name. No, we're spinning again. Just wait for it to officially stop. We have a winner. No one. Remove all instances. There we go. Much better. All right, now we're going to have a winner. We've got, just make sure we have everyone. Okay, we are respinning. Here we go. We will have a winner this time. I swear if it's John Lee.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Prospect, you are technically the winner. Chat, this was not right. I swear.
Dude, I only ever win giveaways when it's ours. It's so
I know you do.
annoying.
This is what, the 3rd time you've done it. Prospect, I'm gonna remove you. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
We're gonna rerun this again.
So annoying.
I swear this is gonna be John Lee. I'm gonna cry. Oh no.
It's Critter.
Critter 9292. Congrats, Critter 9292. Please DM us your MetaMask wallet address. We will send that over to Baron Darthside, and he will get over the Zed Run horse to you. Congratulations, Critter 9292. If we don't hear from you soon, we'll say before the next show, we will rerun it. Otherwise, congrats to Critter. You can DM us Twitch, Twitter, or Discord. Congratulations. And chat, that's going to do it for another episode of VBA Live. We will see you next week. I'm MJ. He is Prospect. And have a good night